the first Easter egg now, but to me it was my signature. So I found a devious and sneaky way to get my name on the screen, which is pretty much as good as getting it on the box. So that was the little guy winning against the big guys.
The term Easter egg was first introduced into the gaming medium back in 1979 for the Atari 2600 game Adventure, in which the game's creator Warren Robinette coded a secret room into the game where his name could be credited for making the game. Warren Robinette wasn't going to get credited for the game he made. Add to that, he was having management issues with the company at the time, so he coded the name in secret, not being discovered for over a year. Even after Atari were found the text, they were convinced to keep it, even after Robinette had left the company, for they stated that from that point on, they would have hidden secrets in their games, dubbing them Easter eggs for people to hunt. This was the birth of the term Easter egg in gaming. And this seemingly simple and innocent act started something that became much bigger than anyone could have ever imagined. Easter eggs are rife in gaming today, and most games nowadays have at least one or two small secrets, homages, or even references to other media or books. The biggest Easter egg that has forever entrenched itself into the pop culture has to be the Konami code. A code that started in the NES game Gradius, put there by developer Kazuhisa Hashimoto to help him bug test the game, by giving himself full power-ups so he can bug test quicker. But upon the game's release, Konami forgot to remove the code, so developers left it in case it caused more bugs and glitches. But this was the birth of the Konami code, and finding as many references to the Konami code would be a video all into itself, and I'll maybe do another one of those another day. But today, on this day of focusing on loving Easter eggs, I want to focus on one of my favourite games, the giant walking Easter egg that is Borderlands 2. I'm James from Square Go Gamers, and these are my favourite Easter eggs in Borderlands 2. So let's start off this list in the dust, where we can find an innocuous looking box, which can be found in several locations in the dust, where we have a reference to the movie Seven. So if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert ahead. So when you open the box, you'll hear Hanson Jacks tell you, "Oh, what's in the box?" And you find a weapon called Gwen's head, and inside you will find Gwen's head. If you've seen the movie Seven, this will all make complete sense to you, and it's a nice little homage to a really good movie. Next up on the Easter egg checklist, we have Minecraft, hidden away in the caustic caverns. Now when you head into the cave, you'll find those pixelated blocks right in front of you that you have to punch through, which I thought was a really nice touch that you can't shoot your way through. And then when you head into the cave, you can fight a couple of creepers all by yourself. Now when you kill these creepers, you'll eventually come to a badass creeper. Now these creepers all have a chance to drop a Minecraft skin and also a pixelated block Minecraft weapon. What I've never found them myself, I've never been lucky enough to have them dropped for me, but I've always found that this is probably one of my favourite Easter eggs in the game, referencing the best-selling and one of the most addictive games ever to have been created in Minecraft. Nice touch, guys. Nice touch. Next up on the list, and we're staying in the Caustic Caverns for this one, we have a Dark Souls reference. Now there are more Dark Souls references in the Tiny Tina DLC, but I want to focus on the main game specifically, so here we go. You have to fight your way through that corrosive sea, which is really hard if you don't have the right gear. And once you do that, only if you do that, you will find a nice little reference to Dark Souls with the ghosting of other players, and you have a character sitting up there called Solitaire, a nice reference to Solaire, the sun bro, and then you can speak to him and all he does is laugh. A nice little touch to all the characters who just maniacally laugh in Dark Souls. It's a neat little Easter egg, and it's one that if you want, you have to want it, which is a very fitting metaphor to Dark Souls itself. Next up, and we have a bit of an odd one this time round. This was an Easter egg from a YouTube video years ago called Double Rainbow. Now you have to head into the Highlands. I've left the location on the map for you should you ever want to find this yourself. And once you find your way around and you look for a tent that's blowing in the breeze, and once you do that, you'll either get Handsome Jack if he's still alive, or Claptrap, almost word for word referencing the YouTube Easter egg.
Double rainbow, full on, all the way. Perfect double rainbow, all the way.
It's one that I've never known about until I started making this list, but it is one that I'm glad I found. As you can see, I got the trophy for this one because I hadn't found it before. It's an odd one, it's an interesting one, and that's why I included it on this list. We find ourselves in the Sawtooth Cauldron for this one, and are you ready for a nice big slice of what the fuck did I just watch? Now, when you get here, you head to the beach. Make sure there's no enemies kicking about, and when you're there and you're ready to go, you have to shoot all these barrels in the correct order. If you're not sure, look it up, or you can watch me shoot them here in the time limit that you have to shoot them. Once you do that, you'll see some pillars rising from the water, blades start spinning, fire starts burning, and then you see Tannis arriving on a fish. I'm not joking. If I didn't have the footage to prove this, I'd think you were insane. Then she does a nice little dance of swimming around in the fish once she does her Evel Knievel-esque leap. And once she disappears back into the water, you're sitting there scratching your head, questioning what you just watched. It's brilliant because it's just insane, just like Tannis. There's a secret like this in Borderlands 1 which I didn't even know about until I started researching this, so it's a self-referential Easter egg. A nice touch, and if you find it, it's just beautiful to watch. And last but not least on this list today, we have a Lord of the Rings Easter egg, the longest Easter egg in this game. Now once you've beaten Handsome Jack and you've beaten the game, you head back to Claptrap's place, and if you look in the fire, you'll see a cog, or a gear if you will, and you have to walk that gear from Claptrap's place to the volcano in the Iridium Blight. You cannot fast travel, you cannot die, and you cannot use a vehicle. You must walk the entire way there. Now this is a really long Easter egg, and when you get there, when you've traversed all the areas and you've gotten to the volcano and you find Geary, if you've done it right, he punches you once and then he runs and jumps into the volcano, and you get 3 birds that fly in and they drop 3 red chests for you, all containing really good loot. This is a wonderful Lord of the Rings Easter egg, and it is the longest Easter egg to obtain in the game, but if you have the patience, perseverance, and sometimes the skill to be able to pull this off, you'll get some really good loot out of it, you'll get a nice little giggle, and you'll get a wonderful Easter egg out of it, and it's just a lot of fun. And it just shows how much love and attention the guys at Gearbox put into Borderlands 2 and how it's managed to stand the test of time for all these years. If you've watched this entire video, I want to thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this. It's been a nice little passion project for me and Machine to do this. If you've enjoyed this, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe and show some support for us so we can help keep doing this for you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care guys, thank you very much.